welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Sue. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. I appreciate you coming back and watching all of my videos every single day that I post. It really means the world to me. This is one of our vacation vlogs, as you guys can probably tell. If you guys have been following along with our story, I will give you a brief update in case this is your first time to my channel. My father passed away in December, and prior to that, we were planning this vacation to travel through Illinois to these different campgrounds, and we rented a cabin. And so we decided to celebrate his life and take this trip anyway. So this is what we're doing. We stopped along, at this point in our trip, we were transitioning from the campground to the cabin, and on our way to the cabin, there was Lake Shelbyville. So we decided to stop and see what Lake Shelbyville had to offer. And we are currently inside the visitor center. And it is such a lovely visitor center, I do have to say. We had so much fun just hanging out and playing inside this visitor center. It's probably one of my favorite parts of the trip. I really enjoy taking my kids to learn about history and different artifacts and different things like that. Different cultures. I really like traveling and seeing the different species of animals and what different places have to offer. And in turn to that, we like, seeing different parts of the country and just seeing how other people do things that is not like the way that we do things where we're from. Of course, we live in Missouri and this is in Illinois, so it's not too terribly far from us. But where we live, we don't have anything like this. Lake Shelbyville is a huge lake and it has a dam on it. So we legit spent probably 3 or 4 hours here at this visitor center. They have all kinds of interactive things inside there, plus they have all these different stuffed species of animals that my kids got to see up close that they normally wouldn't get to see otherwise, and they were really intrigued by that. So we are it's really hot this day. There you can see Liam, he's asking questions about that badger there, and then of course he's talking about this raccoon, and he's wanting, at this point in the game, he's wanting to know how these animals are sitting in front of him, because he has never seen a stuffed animal before, or why it's stuffed, or how it got that way. So we are talking right here about how these animals died and how they were donated to science and got stuffed and things like that, so that he doesn't think that somebody just went out and killed these things. Although that's a great possibility. But the majority of the time, places like this, like the animals have died, they have found the animals and then they have taken them and stuffed them for purposes such as this one. But he's really intrigued by it. I didn't want him to, know that somebody just went out and shot these animals and stuffed it for viewing purposes, which is a great possibility. They could have done that. At this part, this is the lake, and we are driving around this lake as far as we can. This lake is massive. And they have all kinds of little picnic areas along here. They have area that you can swim. And then at the bottom of this lake, there is a dam, which you will see in a few minutes. I think I got a couple shots of the actual dam itself and the water spilling over the dam. But my kids really, really, really enjoyed this visit here. Like I said, this is something that we did prior to going to the cabin. We got ice cream. It melted all in the car. It was really hot this day. It was smoking hot. And as you guys can see, there's, little restrooms. And if we had more time, I would have stopped and let the kids get out and swim in the swimming area. But we were on a time crunch by the time we got through the visitor center. And then they had an observation deck at the visitor center. And they also had like a little garden by the time we got done playing in there. This is us driving over the top of the dam. And then I think we circle around so that you can see the actual waterfall. But by the time we got done through the visitor center and all that fun stuff that they had to offer, we didn't have time. It was time for us to check into our cabin. So you guys, if you guys are following along with our journey to our vacation, then you guys will have already seen the cabin by this point, or you will start to see the cabin at this point. I'm just kind of throwing up. We did this trip back in May. Here's the observation deck. We're walking out onto the observation deck. As far as visitor centers go, like this was probably one of the best visitor centers that I have seen in a while, that I've been to in a while. It was very nice, clean, cool. It had a lot to offer. Like I said, we probably spent at least 2 hours inside the building and then another hour probably walking through and playing around on the deck and then through the garden and around the lake and stuff. It's a very, very cool place. If you've never been to Lake Shelbyville, I highly suggest, if you're in the area, stopping and checking that place out. But what I was saying before is that we took this trip back in May, and I have been posting vlogs, you know, once a week, once every other week of our trip. And the reason why I'm not doing them back to back is because our vacation vlogs take a long time to edit. And some of them have to be voiced over, and I'm one of those YouTubers that tries not to do too much editing, A, because I don't know how to do it, and B, because it does take a while. And you guys, if you guys have been with me, you guys know I have a full-time job. I did recently cut my hours back and stopped working on Fridays, so I'm hoping my Friday I can get the majority of my videos posted and ready to go and scheduled for the week, so it saves me some time. As you can see here, some kid before us had drew those Lilo and Stitches, so stinking cute. And then this is just more of the conservation part of the lake. Like I said, this was a super, super fun trip for us. We really healed on this trip. My kids were really close with my dad. I was really close with my dad. I spoke to my dad every single day, a few times a day, probably in the last year of his life. And this trip was all about celebrating him, remembering who he was, walking in the footsteps of what he wanted to do this summer. And we had such a good time. It was very much a healing part for us. I'm one of those parents that want to teach our kids that it's okay to die, so I wanted to make sure that we did that, and I think we accomplished that as a whole. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity to have that trip. Alright guys, that does it for this video. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button, and we will see you guys in the next video.